Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be platinuming God of War 3. This game originally released in 2010 but got a remaster in 2015. This game is a 4 out of 10 difficulty and takes around 12 hours to complete. There are 14 missable trophies in this game. They're mostly collectible and weapon based trophies. Now getting onto the main game, the first thing you do is select Titan difficulty. This is because there's a trophy for completing the game on this difficulty. The story is a continuation of God of War 2. At the end of that game, Kratos and the Titans join forces to take down Olympia, and to do so they need to siege Mount Olympus. This is where the Greek pantheon lives. The reason why the Titans want to take over is because Zeus will kill them all, which technically already happened, but he retrieved all the Titans from the past. In the prior games, there was a whole lot of time travel shenanigans. After seeing all the Greek gods, we meet back up with Kratos. He's fighting alongside one of the Titans named Gaia. Fun fact, she is also Zeus's great-grandmother. For everybody who doesn't know, the reason why Kratos wants to take over the gods is because they basically did everything in the book to him. The short story is that the gods killed both his wife and his kid, and the reason why he is so white is because he's actually wearing their ashes. After completing the tutorial, you come across your first boss in the game. This is one of the horses that Poseidon summoned to defend Mount Olympus. For being the first boss fight in the game, it's relatively hard. The one saving grace of this boss fight is you can see exactly where it's gonna attack. After completing the first main stage of the boss fight, you get flung onto the base of Mount Olympus. Now Kratos has to make it back to Gaia to help defend her, and on our way we do a part of a missable trophy. For this trophy, you need to do a finisher on 3 different centaurs. The reason why this trophy is so missable is because there's only 3 centaurs in the game. You also cannot do the same one 3 times. After doing a little puzzle, you make it back to Gaia. You do the same boss fight again until you can throw its severed finger back at him, fully killing the horse and saving Gaia. Once making it into Gaia's heart, you find your first collectible of the game. The first type of collectibles that I found was a godly possession. There are 10 of them in the game, and they're mostly gotten for killing all the gods. There's only 3 of them, including that one, that are found throughout levels. We also get our first trophy of the playthrough, and it's for ripping apart your first Olympus sentry. After getting the last trophy, you climb up from inside of Gaia. Once breaching the surface, you see that she's getting attacked by another one of Poseidon's horses. And while she's being held, Poseidon shows up. This is the start of the first god that you will encounter in this game. Poseidon's boss fight is very similar to that of the horses. You just basically need to hit him while Gaia is holding him. Once doing enough damage, you get a QTE and he brings you to his next stage. In the second stage, you just need to hit off all the tentacles off of Gaia. Once this stage is done, you get a couple of cutscenes and then you kill Poseidon, marking the first blood of Olympia. And because Poseidon is dead, it causes Greece to flood. We also get a trophy for killing Poseidon. Afterwards, Kratos and Gaia make their way up to Zeus. Once making it up there, Kratos and Zeus start to talk. But before Kratos can attack, he is struck by a thunderbolt, sending both Kratos and Gaia sliding down Mount Olympus. Then Gaia catches herself and explains to Kratos that she can't have him on him, because if she has him on him, they will both fall to their death. She shakes him off and sends him to Hades' realm of hell. Once landing in the river of Styx, he is stripped of all of his power. This brings you down to level 0 and also loses all of your weapons except your blades of chaos. Once entering hell, you meet up with Athena. She explains to Kratos that if he wants to kill Zeus, he'll have to use an item called the Flame of Olympus. Before leaving, she also imbues Kratos' blades of chaos with power. Now Kratos has to leave Hades' realm, and to do so he'll have to kill Hades, freeing all the souls, allowing him to climb back up to Mount Olympus. But first we are introduced into the new type of collectibles. The first one that we find is called a Goron Eye, and there are 2 other collectibles being feathers and horns, and once getting 3 of each kind, they upgrade a certain stat. Goron Eyes give you health, feather gives you magic, and horns give you dexterity. In the next section of the game, you go and find somebody's bow, but for some reason there was a glitch when I was recording the software. The clip is normal until I walk past this one vase and then it just freezes. This is literally what the entire 20-minute clip looks like, but I do actually have the footage of me acquiring the bow, and also the trophy for finding it. Afterwards, you make your way to the base of the Chains of Olympus. These chains connect the world of Hell and the Overworld together. This being the middle ground of both realms allows you to leave Hell, but before leaving you have to go through some trials. There are 3 different stages in this trial, but none of them are overly hard, so you make it through pretty easily. Once you're done the trial, you step on a pressure plate to be counseled. This is so these 3 judges can decipher if you can leave the afterlife. They then all agree that you're allowed to go back to the Overworld. Once going through the portal, I fought a couple of enemies that allowed me to upgrade my blades of chaos. Kratos then makes his way east to try to find a way into Mount Olympus. After making it into a cave, you see a puzzle. If you do the puzzle, instead of going all the way to the top where you need to leave, you go to the bottom where there's a secret room. This is where you're granted a trophy for finding the secret. Afterwards, you take this theme up to the forge. This is where you meet another god named Hephaestus. He was trapped in Mount Olympus by Zeus. Kratos then asks him if he knows where the flame of Olympia is held. Hephaestus explains to Kratos that he knows where it's held, and if he touches it, he will die. This is because Zeus put a spell on it, making sure it doesn't get used on him. After talking to Hephaestus, you leave the forge. This is where we see a statue impaled by the blade of Olympus. This statue is a spirit of Pandora. Pandora is the kid of Hephaestus and the key to unlocking the flame of Olympia. But at this point in the story, Kratos doesn't know that and just takes back the sword. The blade of Olympia also gives you the rage power in this game. Afterwards, you see the entrance into Hades' lair. Before getting in, you have to kill the dogs in front of the door. Once I killed the dogs and entered into the building, I got the next trophy. This trophy is for killing 100 enemies with the bow of Apollo. Afterwards, you make your way into the place of Hades, which is basically just a big glorified puzzle room. And I don't know if I'm just stupid, but I had no idea what was happening. But after I googled the puzzle, after running around for 30 minutes, we move on to the next chapter of the game. You throw what I presume is Hades' wife into his chest, making him go into a new dimension. This is the boss arena where you fight Hades. I was afraid coming into this game about all the boss fights being really hard, mostly because I've seen a lot of videos about other people complaining that the guide was wrong, in that instead of the game being a 4 out of 10 difficulty, it's around a 7. But personally, after fully completing the game, I can say that this game is around a 5. I found it a little bit easier than God of War Ascension, and that game wasn't even that hard, it just had one really tough section. But after going through the 3 stages of the Hades boss fight, you kill him, giving you the trophy. You also get his claws for defeating him. Once claiming his weapons, he actually rises from the dead. You have to do one last stage, but it's much easier than his other stages. You kill him for a second time, releasing all the souls into Greece. Afterwards, you make your way back to Hephaestus, and here he tells Kratos how he was enslaved. Basically what happened is after Kratos killed Ares, Zeus got very scared. He locked away Hephaestus and took his daughter as a key. We learned that his daughter is Pandora, and that she is the key to unlock the flame of Olympia. Hephaestus then asks Kratos if he can save Pandora. He walks away exclaiming that it's not his problem. Now that Hades is dead, Kratos can make his way freely back up to Mount Olympus. But before leaving, you have a chat with Athena. She basically explains the obvious and that this is the only time you can kill Zeus. You then make your way back to Mount Olympus, and once making it back, you see a familiar foe. We find Gaia still trying to fight her way back up to Mount Olympus, and because she pushed Kratos down to hell, he does the same thing. Once Kratos severs her hand, we get a trophy. Once entering into Mount Olympus, we meet a new enemy, which were in the previous installment of the franchise. These things are called harpies. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is because Santa Monica Studios has a weird obsession, and it's for putting knockers on random animals. I can't tell you how many minutes of clips I cannot use because they're all in my face. Very big pause there, but you guys know what I mean. We also get a trophy for dousing Kratos in 500 buckets of blood. After running outside, we see a titan fighting another god named Helios. This is where we see the second centaur in the game. After killing him, you make your way to a big giant crossbow. This is so you can shoot down Helios' horses, making him come crashing down to land. Once going to the spot where he crashed, you found an injured Helios. This is where Helios tells Kratos that he needs to step into the flame of Olympia to claim it. Kratos, who already knows that it isn't true, gets very mad. Kratos then rips off Helios' head and uses it as a lantern. And because he was a sun god, it makes Greece come to a thunderstorm. We also get the trophy for killing Helios. Afterwards, you go into a very dark cave while using Helios' head. I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like this chapter was not fun at all. You also get past this part of the story pretty quickly. Afterwards, you meet back up with Pandora. She asks for Kratos' help by releasing her. At this point in the story, he doesn't know that she is the key to unlocking the flame of Olympia, so instead he brushes her off. Now this is where this gets fun. Playing in the background is the next 47 minutes of gameplay I have. Just the only thing is it freezes and all I see is just the main menu screen, so I have only a little bit of recording for the next 15 minutes. I swear I lost 10 hours of recording over the last 6 videos. In the clip that I lost, you kill a god named Hermes. He is the god of wealth, but he is basically a mailman for Zeus. The Hermes boss fight was basically you just running after him, and after killing him you get his boots. These allow you to traverse up walls, and once you claim them you get the trophy for killing Hermes. Also, because of the death of Hermes, this causes infection to ramp around Greece. After a couple of battles, you make your way into the resting area of the Flame of Olympia. Once you do a couple of puzzles, you finally reach it. This is where you learn that the chains held by the 3 judges prevents it from being opened. So now Kratos has to make his way back to the bottom of the mountain. And while making our way there, we find the next 2 gods. The first one we see is the wife of Zeus named Hera. She in Greek mythology is the goddess of marriage. And while here she sends Kratos' brother Hercules out to fight him. And yes, you heard me right in the God of War War franchise, these two are brothers, which actually makes a pretty cool conflict because Hercules doesn't like Kratos. This is because Hercules always thought that Kratos was favored over him. Anyways, let's get on to the boss fight. In my opinion, this is top 3 of the best boss fights in the game. Ironically, the other 2 is the first and then the last fight of the game. The first fight being Hades and the last fight being Zeus. And the main reason why all 3 of these boss fights are ranked so highly in my opinion is because there's stages to them, making it so once you defeat them it makes it more rewarding. And after you kill Hercules you get his gauntlets. They were the only other weapon I used besides the Blades of Chaos. After Hercules gets low enough you steal his gauntlets and go mano a mano on him. After Hercules flips the map you run back up it and get your final blows on him. Or in Kratos' case you give him 20, 12 to 3 punches straight to the face. If there's one thing this game is good at, it's brutalizing the other gods. Once fully killing Hercules and claiming his gauntlets you get the trophy for killing him. Now you have to continue Kratos' main mission on breaking the chains, so you make your way into Poseidon's chamber. Before we get there, we get to the most important room of the game. The reason why this room is so important is because there's infinite enemy spawns. This comes in handy when you're doing all the random combat trophies, but primarily the trophy for kicking 50 dogs. Now looking back at that makes me sound like Michael Vick. The reason why this trophy is so important in this area is because dog spawns are very rare. You'll get max 2 dogs in one encounter. After that trophy you make your way into the chambers of Poseidon. You meet his wife who's chained up. You free her and bring her with you. The reason why you need her is to open a door, so you just strap her to the lever like Milhouse, which is kinda crazy because her husband is dead so she'll basically be hanging there for eternity. Once entering through the door you talk to Pandora. She explains to Kratos that she thinks that Zeus is coming after her. Kratos then diverts his plan to go to the labyrinth to save Pandora, but first he needs to make his way into the heart of Mount Olympus. But first you need to do a puzzle to get back into it, and once reaching to the end of the puzzle you realize you can't actually do it. This is because you need a weapon to use it that we'll get later on into the game, so you need to cross back into the mountain through some buildings. This is where we make it into Aphrodite's chamber. I'm gonna have to be very careful of what I show in this part of the game, mostly because there's a lot of non-PG acts I can't show on this channel, and Thomas, I can't give you a tutorial of piping a girl. If you want some more information of that, you can go ask Sarah. We all know that she's been getting down like that. I'm sorry Thomas, there won't be any more comments like that. It's all in good jokes. It's all not our fault that Sarah is fine as hell. We then get a trophy for completing the quote-unquote mini-game. Afterwards you go through the portal in her chamber to meet up with Hephaestus. Kratos then tells him that he wants to go into the labyrinth to get Pandora. This makes Hephaestus very angry because he wants her to stay in there. And the reason why he's mad is because he knows that if Pandora is broken out, she'll die. He knows this because he is the one who created the box that holds the Flame of Olympia, and also the person who made Pandora the key to opening it. He thought nobody would ever come for the Flame of Olympia again, making Pandora safe for eternity. Hephaestus then says to Kratos that he'll need a weapon to get to it, but first he needs a stone found in Tartarus. This is because if he doesn't have the stone, he can't make the weapon. And on our way we find the last centaur needed for the trophy. And just a reminder, if you fully kill him, you can restart the checkpoint to get the finisher on him. A little bit further down you come to a puzzle room. Once killing all the enemies and finishing the puzzle, you get a trophy for entering Tartarus. For everybody who doesn't know, Tartarus is used as a prison for all of the Titans, and geographically is the deepest part of the cosmos. And while making our way through, we find the severed hand of Gaia, and while inspecting it, it gets lifted up by another Titan named Kronos. He is known as the king of all the Titans, and was also featured in God of War 2. Because you try to kill Gaia, this makes Kronos very angry, prompting the next boss fight in the game. This boss fight consists of you running across Kronos' body until you can find a weak point. Then after getting flung on different parts of his body and destroying part of his belt and his shoulder, Kronos then eats you and you have to slide your way back to his stomach. Once sliding all the way down and doing a QTE, you rip your way out of his stomach. This is where you find the stone that Hephaestus needed to craft your weapon. Afterwards you make it back to his belt that is also a chain. After breaking it free, you neatly plunge it straight into his neck. This obviously kills Kronos, and once you land back on the ground you get the trophy for killing him. Kratos then makes his way back to Hephaestus. After giving him the stone, he quickly makes a new weapon. He gives it to Kratos and then tries to kill him. Kratos breaks free and uses his own smithing weapon against him, killing Hephaestus in the process. We then get our tutorial on the Nemesis web, and when testing it out, I got the trophy for stunning 100 enemies. And a little tip with it, you have to fully charge it up. Even though the small stun works, it doesn't count towards the trophy. Since we have the Nemesis whip now, we can get to areas that we couldn't get to. Afterwards you go to a puzzle room. This is where I got the trophy for collecting all the feathers found around the world. After finishing the last room, you come to Hera's garden. And you probably guessed it, but we meet up back with Hera. She, as she should, isn't dealing with the death of her family very lightly. She explains to Kratos that he'll never get through her maze, and then she leaves. Directly after that cutscene, we get the next trophy for collecting all the godly possessions. And I'm pretty sure this possession is unmissable. And while making our way through the maze, we get the next 2 trophies. The first one is for finding all the Goron eyes, and for finding all the horns. Now we have to move on to the actual puzzle part of this maze, and for me it was pretty difficult. Take this with a grain of salt because I'm the one who dropped a 19% on his math final. I did manage to finish the first part of the puzzle without using Google, and for me this was a pretty special moment. And after finishing the first part of the puzzle, you see Hera again, and after a little bit of talking, Hera then curses at you, and you already know what Kratos is about to do. Anyways, one Google later, you finish the puzzle. This rewards you with a trophy once you fully complete it. Once traveling over the gap once again, I got another trophy. How to get this trophy is after upgrading the Claws of Hades to max level, you need to summon each summon. If you're gonna summon all of them in one shot, I recommend setting by a magic box. This is because if you do it in one shot, you'll run out of magic. Now you make it back inside Mount Olympus. This is where we see our first glimpse of what will become the labyrinth, or as you guys as the audience, this will be the only time you'll see it. I'll get into that a little bit later. Before the labyrinth appears, you need to do a couple of trials. I only have the first trial, which is Kratos fighting these ogres. Once defeating them, you jump to a giant box where you fight a scorpion, and while fighting the scorpion, there's an exploit where you can get your max combo of 1000. How to do this exploit is by making your way to his furthest right leg, and if you keep on attacking it, it will stun him constantly, allowing you to get to your max 1000 combo. And like I said before, I lost the hour of footage. When I went to go save the clip, it literally just said no. I could be very wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it was a spoiler measure. Just because this game had a lot of hype when it came out and they didn't want others spoiling the game for other people. So in this hour footage, you go into the labyrinth. This is where you find and quote unquote save Pandora. Once you find her, you have to navigate your way to this old guy. He is the father of Icarus and the person who made the labyrinth. And that's roughly all I do in the hour that I lost. Now I'll go over the trophies that I got in that time. The first trophy is for finding the key to open the labyrinth, finding Pandora, and lastly finishing the labyrinth without dying. Afterwards you have to make your way back to the 3 judges in the chain of Olympus. The reason why you're here is because you want to break the chains. Why you want to do this is because the chains are in the way of the labyrinth moving. But first, before we see that, I got 2 trophies. The first trophy is for fully upgrading every single weapon in the game. A little tip for this, if you go for the extra collectibles, instead of giving you a collectible, it'll now give you red orbs. So if you're getting a little scared that you won't get it, you can just do this method. After getting that trophy, I finally destroyed the 3 judges, and at the same time Pandora notifies Kratos that Zeus is coming after her, so Kratos makes his way back up to Pandora. I also got the trophy for destroying the 3 judges in this cutscene. After flying back up, we see Pandora. Instead of being captured by Zeus, she was found by Athena. I don't know how we're mixing these two up, but whatever. Kratos then promises Athena that he'll take Pandora to the box. Kratos then climbs up the still attached chain so he can move the labyrinth. Once making it fully up, he pushes his lever, making the entire labyrinth floor rise up. I don't know if this was the best decision Kratos could have done. He literally just could have carried Pandora back up, making the chance of her getting flattened much less. Once done pushing the lever, Kratos and Pandora then meet back up. She then tries to use herself on the box. Kratos then stops her because now he doesn't want her to die. And while Kratos is trying to explain to her how they can do it a different way, Zeus shows up. We then get the usual bad guy mumbo jumbo before the big boss fight. Zeus then throws her, making him and Kratos start to fight. This, in my opinion, is by far the hardest part of the game, mostly because Zeus deals a whole lot of damage in just one hit, making you able to lose the fight in just 10 seconds. This is best shown in his first second stage. He has a lightning attack that absolutely tanks all of your health. The way to overcome this is by constantly attacking him. After dealing enough damage, you get a QTE that brings you into a cutscene. This cutscene has Pandora jumping into the box. Kratos then catches Pandora but can't hold on to her. He lets go, making Pandora unlock the Flame of Olympia. Once blacking out and waking up, he sees the box with no magic protection over it. He slides the top, revealing that nothing is inside. Kratos then meets back up with Zeus outside to finish the fight once and for all. This then starts another phase of the boss fight, and while fighting him, Gaia shows up. She tries to destroy the platform, so Zeus and Kratos jump into her heart. And while there, Kratos tries to kill Gaia, but before he could do so, Zeus shows back up. This initiates the last fight you'll have with Zeus, and by far the hardest part in the game, mostly because Zeus summons other Zeuses to fight you, and for some reason they all attack at the same goddamn time, making you die almost instantly. After 45 minutes of constantly dying, I finally got to his QTE, ending up with Kratos killing Zeus and Gaia in the same shot. After Gaia falls apart, Kratos then wakes up on the ground. Once walking away from Zeus, his soul then attacks him, ending up with Kratos going inside his own mind. And while inside of his mind, you're basically just chasing past memories. The spirit of Pandora then explains to you what was inside the box was hope. Kratos then uses that hope and finally destroys Zeus once and for all, giving you the trophy for killing Zeus in the process. And this is the end of the story missions of the game. The only thing left to do is talk to Athena and kill yourself. The reason why Kratos does this is so he can spread hope around the world. And we know that Kratos doesn't die because there's 2 more games after this. We then get the last 2 trophies related to the story. They're for completing the game in general and also completing the game on Titan difficulty. And finally, the last thing we need to do is complete the challenge mode. There was only about 2 out of 10 challenges that were actually very hard, mostly because you need luck to be on your side. Thank you to anybody who watched to the very end, and hopefully all of you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Suck on those nuts, buddy. Holy, that took 30 minutes.